we're telling all the students. తరచు చదువు చదివి తర్కవాదమే కానీ పూర్ణ జ్ఞానము ఎప్పుడూ పొందలేదు. చదువులన్నీ చదివి చావంగనేటికి చావులేని చదువు చదవవలయు. Having read all kinds of things, all you have got into is debates and arguments. But true knowledge, Purna Jnana, nobody has acquired. They're only debating and arguing who is who is superior, who is inferior, but nobody has actually learnt the complete knowledge, Purna Jnanam. చదువులన్నీ చదివి, after reading all kinds of education, చావంగనేటికి, finally you are going to die tomorrow. So what should we do? చావులేని చదువు. That education which gives you immortality, raises you beyond this birth and death, చదవవలయు. That is the education, that is the learning that you must have, yathashrutam. That kind of education is a must. We are so interested in doing all kinds of things in the world. I was telling the students, when one small exam is there, semester exams, half-yearly exams, annual exams, public exams, we lose our sleep, we sacrifice our rest, we skip our breakfast, we do everything just to get that 5 extra marks. But this education, which actually takes you across, which you never have to come back and study these material educations again. That education, how many people are losing sleep over, how many people are sacrificing their breakfast, lunches, how many people are sacrificing their rest and leisure to learn this education is the question. How many? Because they are not knowing the value of this education. They think the value of the lower education or the Apara Vidya, which I call, is there because this will lead you to employment, and employment to enjoyment. Our Sanjeev Shetty says like that. Education for employment, employment for enjoyment. They think that is joy. When you get an employment, whatever you earn out of that money, house, family, wealth, vacations, all this is what is enjoyment. That is why we must have employment. And to get an employment which helps us get some money, we study, losing our sleep, rest, leisure, breakfast, lunches. Sacrificing bath is very common. That is examination time especially. We lose everything. We are ready to sacrifice anything for the sake of those silly 5 extra marks. And I was telling you, take all these certificates, a whole bunch of it, a file of it, and give it to Yama finally. Yama, you see, I'm qualified engineer, after that I did MTech, after that I did a PhD and a double PhD, and then I went to Wharton, and then I do this and that, I've invented this. You know what will Yama do? He'll take all those papers and feed his buffalo with it. That's what he will do. He's not going to read through also. He's not going to even skim through. He's not going to even bother about those educational certificates, which you so proudly would carry, thinking that you have done so much in this world. He's not going to bother. He'll ask, are you a Brahmavida? Do you know Brahman? What's that? Come. I'll teach you, come. Go through some Narkayatana. Remember next time when we meet. Because that is what would have saved you from me. But unfortunately, that is what you have not done precisely in the whole of your life. So it's so beautifully, Kathopanishad says, he goes from death to death. Kathopanishad doesn't say he goes from birth to birth. Yama does not say the person who does not learn Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya, he goes from birth to birth, like he described right now. From one yoni to another yoni for the sake of another body. Animal body, bird body, human body, we don't know. In human body also, blind body, deaf body, lame body, we don't know. Poor body, rich body, intelligent body, foolish body, we don't know. We goes. Or you can become nobody, in the sense, a tree or a plant or a bush. Or even worse, piece of earth. There are stories when ladies have become rivers and men have become mountains. Plenty of stories are there in our Puranas are there. So what you can become, you never know yourself if you don't know Brahma Vidya. All your engineering will not entitle you to become again engineer. See, whatever engineering you do this birth, do you think that qualification continues in your next birth? You come back and they will know, no, he's an engineer. We know last birth he studied in IIT Chennai. Nobody knows. You start all over again. A, B, C, D. Look at the silliness of the whole thing. You might be a topper of the engineering college in your previous birth. You could have been even a professor, even the dean of the college. Next birth, when you are born, where you start? 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D, you begin again. What silliness. But Atma Vidya, even if you have not completed your education and attained the degree, yet, what he said, Punya lokam, they will go still to some good loka, they will not go to the worst loka. Means anything that you do will not be destroyed, the knowledge will not be destroyed. But for all other things, material knowledge, you have to come back and start all over again. At least some effort you have to put. Atma Vidya is something which doesn't get destroyed. Neha Vikrama Nashosti, that is what it said. There is no adverse effect to this. Pratyavayona Vidyate, this Abhikrama, whatever effort you put, na Nashosti. This will not get destroyed. Nasha it will not become. Na iha, in this world, this Abhikrama Nashosti, in this world doesn't get destroyed. Pratyavayona Vidyate, there is no adverse effect. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya, even little you know about this Atma Vidya, trayate. Crossover, mahato bhayat, biggest of the fears, biggest of the worries, the biggest of your threats, you can cross over. So when I went up, he told, you are telling in Kathopanishad that Mrityu says he is afraid of a Brahmavida. No? Mrityu dhavati panchama is written. He is afraid and runs away. Dhavati. 5 things done with the fear of God, they say. The Surya, the wind, the Indra, the Agni, and this Mrityu. So he said, why is Mrityu so afraid of this person, Brahman? Because Mrityu himself also should know Brahman. That's how he is teaching. Acharya Vakta is an amazing teacher because he knows the subject. Then how is that Mrityu is afraid of the one who has Brahman? It is described like that. How? The knower of Brahman is always keeping one sword in his hand. Up. Vajra. Like the lightning. So powerful because Vajra has been Indra's instrument or weapon. So he keeps that up. So Yama is afraid because he can cut Yama into 2 pieces with that. What does that mean? Symbolically it means Yama will not come near the person who knows Brahman. Only those who don't believe that Brahman exists, na asti iti, don't believe that this doesn't exist here. They don't believe that another world exists after this world. This is what it is. Nasti iti, paramani. There is other one is there, does not exist, he believes. He comes under the control of Yama. Those who believe the other one exists, and also we have a way to the higher things. We can escape this clutches of Yama. To them, Yama never comes and troubles them. For them, God comes and takes them as it is to be taken. So that is the beauty of Brahma Vidya. Unfortunately, we don't put even 1% of the effort that we put to learn everything else in this world for Brahma Vidya. All Brahma Vidya, other things are all Brahma Vidya. For that we are very, very particular. When is the admissions opening? When are the admission forms available? What kind of examinations that would be? Which coaching center will teach me what to write? When will be the interview? When are the classes starting? When are the exams? When are the certificates given? And with that, which college can I go and join? Which coaching should I take? What exams should I write? All these thoughts occupy our minds. At the end, it is of nothing, it is no use, it will become one big zero. Only it is available to you to some extent in this world. That to the change of technology and science and things is so fast. Till yesterday, for example, who cared even if they didn't care about online? Today, whole world is running behind online, contactless business. They don't want to see your face at all. Don't come to our shops, don't come to our hotels, don't come to our offices. You stay where you are and do from there. Contactless. Who knew that this is going to happen? When he was studying, what did he know that the whole world will be in a small gadget like this? Where was the technology? But the whole world changed. People wrote and read, and suddenly everything changes. World is continuously changing. Now they are talking about not even having a gadget in your hand. Some other technology they are talking about. Of communication, of transport. And people are planning to settle down on Mars and Moon, and some crazy man is even trying all these things. Sending satellites and rockets up and down. Why? Because he thinks that it's time to leave Earth. Because it's getting worse by the day. Let's find another place to live. Or if not, let's go for a vacation to Moon this time. Summer vacation. The thinking of man is never done with things. So things are changing. This knowledge will keep changing. Many of you will be obsolete by tomorrow. Who knows? Some of these things that you have learnt all these years, 10 years, suddenly is going to be of no use. But one thing will be of use to you always. Not only in this birth, not only tomorrow, not only day after, but births to come. And that is the knowledge of yourself. That alone can save you finally. So everything, all activities of your life should be in only to attain this. It means to attain this I need a body, so keep the body healthy, keep it well fed, keep it clean, keep it in a proper shape. Why? So that I can spend my time learning this. Do I need to do a job? Yes, you have to do a job because you can earn your money as much as required for you to look after your family, not more than that. More than that, then you'll get into wrong ways. Then you'll sleep less, you'll be in the office all the time, and then you'll not pay attention to this Atma Vidya, you'll not pay attention to this self sadhana. So then it is an impediment, it is not as useful to you. Similarly, relationships, you marry somebody who is not a spiritual person, then you suffer again. Because they are not cooperating with your spiritual schedule. They have their own party schedules and things like that. So, one thing leads to the other. And finally, this Brahma Vidya is what takes the back seat. And everything else is in the front. And the joke is at the end of the whole thing, when you go to Yama, and you have to, if you have not learnt it, you have spent learning everything else. And he's going to ask you, the first question he's going to ask you is this. Do you know Brahma Vidya? I don't know. That's it, you failed. So that is the power of it. I have been emphasizing on this, saying that all this while we have been dealing with Swami at a very material level. Education, health, help, financial, emotional. This is all that we have dealt with. I lost my job, get me a job. Why does he help all this with you? It's only he helps because you will, once that problem is solved, he hopes that now you will turn towards Brahma Vidya. But what happens? You come up with a new problem, a new desire, a new idea, and then again Brahma Vidya is postponed. Again he fulfills those desires, hoping that you will now change and now you will pay attention to this Vidya, Brahma Vidya. But again you come up with new ideas and new thoughts. It's never ending. It's never ending. Trishna na jirna, vayameva jirna. We become old, we die. Our desires don't die. Desires don't become old. They are nitya nutana. Every new desires keep coming. You get a bike, you want a car, you get a car, you want a bigger car, you get a bigger car. To park, you need a bigger garage, so you need a bigger house. Now that you have a bigger car, you can't go to a small hotel, so you have to go to 5 stars. Now that you go to 5 stars, now you need a 5-star suit, watch, shoes. Now that you have to buy all this, you have to get a bigger job which can pay for all these 5-star habits of yours. To get a bigger job, you have to work harder in the world. You have to get a few more degrees under your belt so that you get a bigger job. Once you get a bigger job, you get bigger work, more work. You travel around the world and here and there, and you have where is the time for Atma Vidya? Balastavat krida sakta, tarunastavat taruni sakta, vriddhastavat chinta sakta, parabrahmani kopina sakta. That is why that time there were no big jobs. So Shankaracharya said, oh, when you are a kid, you are very busy playing and enjoying yourself. You don't care. You have no care of the world. When you grow as young men and women, all the time you are interested in the opposite gender, attracted by the natural laws of life. And there is no time to think of God. And you become old now. because you have done with all the merry-making in the world. Legs are paining, hands are paining, head is aching, teeth are aching, nobody is wanting to even look at your face. Shankaracharya himself says that. But at that time also, you are worried about, I am going to die or what? What will happen to me? Same worries. What will happen to my wealth that I have earned? Will my sons squander it away? How do I preserve it, save it? These worries keep eating your head till the end. And at the end, what happens? You meet Yama. And when you meet Yama, the first question asked is, like the first and the last question asked is, are you a Brahmavida? Do you know anything about Brahman? What's that? That is the answer. What's that? He says, I will teach you, come. Itana to Karna Swami, that Sumit sings. And is my favorite. At the end it says, Jab pran tan se nikale, when the life leaves this body, koi roga na sataye. Jab kanta prana aaye, koi roga na sataye. No roga. Biggest roga is Bhava roga. That should not trouble you. Other rogas is one way. Bhava roga na sataye. Yama darshana dikhaye, they say. Let the Yama not show his face to me. I don't want to see his face at the end of my life. I should lead a life like this. Jab pran tan se nikle, jab when you are going to die, make sure that you are there. You are there to take me. I don't want this Yama to carry me all the way and dump me in some terrible loka for my misdoings, wrongdoings. So please, Swami, you help me. How will I help you? I will help you only if you help yourself. How will I help you? You have to help yourself then. That is why Krishna is so clear. Uddared atmanatmanam. You alone can redeem yourself. Atmanam avasadayet. You alone are the cause of your own sorrow. I am not. Atmano hi atmano bandhu. You alone are your friend. Atmano hi uttaratmana. You alone are your enemy. I am just a witness. If you ask me for help, I will come. I will tell you to do this. Some people, Swami is there for me, you know. I have complete trust in him. I will go enjoy the world, make merry, do as I please. At the end, what is there? We pray to Swami, he will redeem us. You think Swami has no other work to do? Don't take him casually. Don't take him for granted. That he will simply redeem us because we have sung a few bhajans for him. As it said, as Yama asked, what good have you done? I have seen Sai Baba. I am the bhajan singer. I am the volunteer. I am the staff. I was the teacher. I was the doctor. I was nurse. That is a good Sai Baba did to you by giving you an opportunity to be a nurse in the hospital, doctor in his hospital, volunteer in his ashram, staff in his college, student in his institutions. That is the good Sai Baba has done to you. By allowing you to be in his proximity and learn something good. But if you did not utilize it, actually you have done bad. But Yama is not interested that you met Sai Baba and Sai Baba gave you an opportunity to do this. All that is the favor done by Sai Baba to you. Good was done to you. You did not do any good there. What is the good you have done? He'll keep asking. And he will not be satisfied. He will not be satisfied with any answer. You go round and round and round and try to convince Yama. He has dealt with you like these people will be the sitting examiners. And this one new fellow will come. They'll ask a few questions. He'll think he can hoodwink the examiners by giving all kinds of answers. So they have seen lakhs of students like you. You are not the first one. Don't think you are too smart. So Yama will tell that. Don't think you are too smart. You are trying to tell me things like this. I was a volunteer. I worked 18 hours a day. Have you known Brahman? No. Then you don't qualify for anything. Come. No, I had done some volunteer service. Okay, give him some better loka, a little better accommodation. That's all it is to that soul. A little better accommodation for the time being. But beyond that, it does not help. You keep coming back. Puna puna vashama padyate me, he says. Again and again, you come under my control. So that is the reason why I am so very particular, because there is no other way. If there was another way, I would have given you a simpler option. Look, you can do this and also you can redeem yourself. But nanya pantha ayanaya vidyate. Unfortunately, sadly, there is no other way other than knowing yourself to redeem yourself. There is no other way. I wish there was another simpler, easier shortcut to this, but unfortunately, there is none. Nanya pantha vidyate ayanaya. There is no other way other than knowing yourself to find God, to find freedom. Else you keep coming back. Some people may say, I don't care. You know, Swami says, live in the present, but don't worry about the future. Yama comes, who comes, doesn't matter. Live in the present. That's what they will think. But what is their present? Is it not preparing their future? How to live in the present? Live in the present, definitely, but how? By doing all kinds of wrong things, you live in the present, then you have a Yama future. But if you are live in the present, doing all the right things, aware of what the future, that the present is shaping your future, that is right living in the present. Do not worry about future, because if you do the right things now, your future is taken care of. Why should you worry? So therefore I said, don't worry about the future, just live in the present. But the question is, what is this art of living in the present? How do we live in the present is the question also you should ask. And that living in the present is living with this awareness. At the end we have to meet Yama. The only way we can escape meeting Yama is if we have become Atma Rama. That's the only way Yama will not come near me. I don't have to go through this channel. I have a VIP entry. I don't have to stand in the Tirupati queues you have seen. There are a lot of patience to go through that. People wait. I believe, at least I did not do this. Somebody took care of us very well. Otherwise, they have to book their darshan much before in advance. And when they come there, they have to register. And then they have to stand in a queue. And how long is the queue? Sometimes one night, one day. Sometimes 2 nights, 2 days. And Brahmotsavam will forget, don't even go. You don't know whether you will ever get till the shrine. Or you are known to, if not Lord Venkateshwara, at least the priest of Lord Venkateshwara, or the local MLA or MP, or the trust members, because you are such a person. They respect you. You're not just anybody. So they will invite you. Please come. Whenever you come, we'll make arrangement. Then what happens? Royally you walk in. Straight go to the shrine and see the Lord. No worry. That is the difference between a Brahmavida and non-Brahmavida. He knows Brahman. Brahman will invite him. Come. I want to see you. Whereas the other people stand in the queue. Yama is the policeman there. You know how policemen behave in this temple. As if they own the temple. They're doing a favor to you by even letting you stand in the queue. That's how they behave. So Yama and Yamadutas are like that. Because they know this fellow is a silly fellow. He doesn't deserve any respect. You have to treat him like what he is. But this man, he's a very accomplished, he's a Brahmavida. No, please go by the VIP queue. Don't stand here. That is the difference. So Yama will say, please go from the VIP queue. Devadutas are waiting for you and they will pick you up from there. I am not coming with you. That is not my route. My route is Dakshinayan. You have to see the Uttarayan. You please go that way. And I will take all these other fellows with me. That is what happens at the end. Believe it or not, what am I going to lose? Thousands of years of wisdom this is. Thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years of wisdom, experiential wisdom, not just ordinary intellectual some wisdom. Thousands of years of experiential wisdom tells you that yes, there exists at the end a person called Yama. And his job is to treat you according to your karma, yatha shrutam. He is not going to change anything, add a few favor. He won't favor you with any extra things. You go through what you have to go through. So many people take refuge in the story, that at the end if I just remember Narayana, even if it's my cow's name, goat's name or dog's name, Narayana, if I say Ramayama, see, those are to encourage people that at least till last moment at least think of God. But don't take it too literally. None of these things should be taken too literally. They should be thought of very carefully. And they should be known with effort. Otherwise it will not bear any results. You can imagine that. So that knowledge, when it comes, alone redeems us. That is why I said, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate. In this world, there is nothing equal to jnana. Tat swayam yoga sansiddhaha kalena atmani vindati. How does you attain? With the passage of time. How do you attain? Swayam, on its own. How? Yoga sansiddhaha, the one who has become adept in that yoga. One is ever established in that yoga. He achieves it with the passage of time. There is no hurry, there is no late, there is no early, there is no delay. You achieve on time, perfectly, provided you are yoga sansiddhaha. You are siddha in yoga. If you are not that, bhoga sansiddhaha, it's not possible. You will not attain right now. You will attain maybe after many, many more cycles. The question is that when you are aware, then you cannot turn your head away from that and look the other way saying that that's not for me. Those who are unaware, their ajnanis, their fate is different. But we at least the people who have this jnana, that such a thing exists. Asti iti, says Yama. The one who believes asti iti, that it exists, there itself we have done half the job, he says. Why? Because when you truly believe it, tattvam, that particular tattvam prasidati, it becomes happy with you. Who becomes happy? That ultimate truth, the Brahman becomes happy with you. Why? Because you at least first believe that it exists. That itself is the starting point. Half the world does not believe it exists, so there is the starting for them. But if you believe it exists, half the means prasidati, it becomes happy with you. What? Tattvam. That principle of Atman becomes happy with you. Oh, this is a person who at least believes that I exist. I must help that person to now know that I really exist. Must experience me that I exist. With that idea, Brahman becomes happy with you, and then he creates opportunities. He creates many, many ways for you to progress. He brings you to an ashram like this. He helps you get an education in institutions like this. He takes care that you have some income to look after your families if you are a staff or a volunteer over here. He takes care that if you have any health issue because of which you cannot pursue your Adhyatma sadhana, health issues are taken care of. He takes care that any untoward incident happens at your home or something, in some way or the other you are helped and you are able to overcome that. He takes care that if something happens beyond consolation, you see, then at least you have that moral support, the blessing of being in the fold of a guru or a god to help overcome your sorrows, which cannot be otherwise remedied. He helps you, Brahman helps you. Why? Because you believe that it exists. There itself he becomes happy and says, let me create an opportunity for this fellow. After getting the opportunity, then if you don't use it, then what will happen? Is Brahman going to be happy with you? He will say, this fellow is useless. I gave him all the opportunity, Manushyatvam, Mumukshatvam, Mahaprusha Samshraya, everything I have given. Still this fellow is throwing it and walking away. So I don't want to deal with this fellow anymore. Let him go through what he has to go through and come back when he's really learnt his lessons the hard way. What else can we do? And there are so many more wanting to be knowers of Brahman. So he will pick them up, and that Brahman, how does he pick it up? Because he's inside everybody, isn't it? So he knows who is really sincere, who is not sincere. Accordingly, he provides them with opportunities to grow in this path. So this is very, very important, and the importance of it cannot be explained in words. Cannot be explained in words. It is so important. Why I am changing this whole thing from just doing simple? Because bhakti also should, as I said yesterday, should end in jnana only. Somebody said today, Swami, I have surrendered to you. So now, everything that I have to do, say, think, everything is according to your will only. No, so should I also worry about all these things? Or else you will only take care of me. I say, no, Marjala Bhakti if you have, I will only take care of you. You don't have to worry. But question is that, do you really have that kind of surrender? Do you really have that kind of a Marjala Bhakti? Then leave it to God. Bhakti Marga is itself take you to Jnana Marga. But you know who he is. What that person who is really a Marjala Bhakta, you know it. He himself knows it. Nothing affects him, because the moment he's become a Marjala Bhakta, what happens? Anapeksha, Shuchir Daksha, Udasino, Gatavyata, Sarvarambat Parityagi. Everything. He's become all free from everything. Sarvatra Samabuddhaya. Na Rishyati, na Dveshti, na Shochati, na Kankshati. Shubha Shubha Parityagi. So he's already become that. because he has become a true devotee. Then where is the question of you wanting to reach Brahman or Brahman's responsibility now you are. But have you reached there? No. I am a devotee, Swami should take care of me. On what basis do you demand that? On what basis you declare yourself to be a devotee? There was a town, it seems. Everybody declared they were all Brahmagyanis there. You know? No, they all knew scriptures by heart. Shrotriyasya. Everybody, perfect knowledge. You can ask them any page, anywhere, they'll repeat it. All are Brahmagyanis. They claim themselves to be Brahmagyanis. So one poor guru landed up in that place. They said, sorry, we don't need you. We don't set up your shop over here. Nobody is going to come to your satsang. Nobody is going to listen to your talks because we are all Brahmagyanis, you see. He said, I never heard Brahmagyanis say this so far. At least whomever I have met. If another Brahmagyani comes, they will get up and invite him saying that, please come, what a fortune to meet a Brahmagyani, another Brahmagyani. That's what they will think. When Shuka walked into a Naimisharanya, all the saints are overjoyed. They stop their yajna, yagas, everything and tell him, please come and teach us more. If not, let us discuss. You know cricket, I know cricket, but let us discuss the cricket score, what happened, who played how. Because the joy of discussing something that we know together, it's so amazing. So please come if you are a Brahmagyani. That's how they should have invited this fellow. But they said, no, we don't need you here. Absolutely, you are not required. Please go back wherever you have come from. We are all Brahmagyanis. He told, all right, I will stay for a few days. Anyway, I have to go. I will move on after some time. So as he was staying there, the news spread that the king has fallen very sick. And everybody is worried. That itself gave the sign that nobody is Brahmagyani there. If you are Brahmagyani, why you will worry about the body? So this Brahmagyani also came to know. He told, I know how to cure the king if you take me to the king. Oh, please come. If king dies, what will happen to us? So they took him to the king. He checked the king and did something and told, I found the cure for your disease. I will make a medicine and that will cure you. He said, thank you, but what do you require? He said, I need half a pound of flesh from any Brahmagyani's thigh. Half pound of flesh from a Brahmagyani's thigh if I get, I will make the medicine out of it and give you, you will be cured. He said, don't worry, all our Brahmagyanis is my kingdom, pick up anybody. So he said, come here. They said, no, I am not a Brahmagyani. Everybody ran away, saying, no, I am not a Brahmagyani, please don't take my flesh. He told, see, this is Ajnana. This is Ajnana. I am a devotee. Sacrifice everything, give up your jobs, give up your families, give up all your wealth and associations, take to the path of sannyasa. I am not a devotee. At least Sai Baba is not there for sure. Sai Baba will never demand such things of us, you see. He was always very nice and kind. Whenever he came, he only gave us, never asked anything, never asked us to take such hard, difficult things. He was very happy we came and cut cakes and, decorated, put balloons and flowers for his birthday, sang songs and danced. He was very happy. That is Sai Baba. Who is this person? What is this new thing? Brahmagyana all the time. What is this new raga? They will talk like that. Those who are not devotees. Those who are devotees, they say, now Swami is pushing us to the next level. Kindergarten is over. The first thing I said when I arrived here is that kindergarten is over. When he asked what is the difference between this and that and the future, I said that is all primary school. Over. Shirdi Baba proved God exists. Satya Sai Baba said God exists in all, so also in you. Now this phase, third phase of Satya Sai Baba's and or Sai mission's third phase, which encompasses all Sais, is what? You yourself are God, realize that. This is not told, this is there in discourses from 1950s, 60s, 70s, you go and check. This is not something new. When it was told that the last phase is only to the dedication of Sanatana Dharma, it is not being told today. There is no point in you finding an excuse that this body change, that body change. I think this mind also somewhere got lost on the way. Nothing is lost. Everything is intact and perfect. Vrishti dosham can be there. This was always to come. This was to be. And therefore it is coming now. So take it as it comes. But now the time has come to up your devotion. Enough is enough. I'm not asking, seeking, getting, rejoicing, glorifying, praising, all this is not required. That if you don't do also, it's okay. That was a children's way, to attract people to oneself. You do all kinds of things. But now you have to grow. Enough of kindergarten. Now you go to the high school. I always said this is a high school. You have to learn higher truths now. And then you go to the university where there's nobody going to teach you. Sit and learn for yourself. So beautiful times are coming. So beautiful those times are coming now. It's more beautiful than what you ever experienced in the past. Such beautiful times are coming. Where there is no speaking, no listening, no hearing, nothing. There is a beautiful, absolute, serene, sacred, pure, unsullied silence. And in that silence, everybody learns, everybody gains, everybody evolves, everybody is liberated. Nothing spoken, nothing done. So think of those times. How will we understand anything if we have not put efforts right now? That's why so much of coaching is happening to get admission into the university. That is what I was laughing. For getting into school, Abba, how much effort they put. Coaching centers and examinations and what you call this previous year question paper solving, and even mock interviews they practice. I believe some of the coaching centers even take you through all these things, because we keep changing policies every now and then. These coaching centers have lost it. They're like, every third day, the Satya Sai Lok Sabha changes some policies. And we are training our students in one way, and then again we have to train in another way, because these fellows will change some policy. So, what happens then? What times are coming you think like that? Chitram, Dakshinamurti Stotram. It says Chitram, amazing. Vichitram means, Chitram means very strange scene. What is the strange scene? Vatataror Mule, under the Vatavriksha. What's happening? What's happening? Vruddha Shishya, old Shishyas are sitting. And who is Guru? Yuvam Guru. A young man is a Guru there. Under the Vatavriksha, a strange scene is taking place. All old people are the Shishyas and a young man is the Guru. What is the strange thing about it? Not that there are old people who are sitting down and young people are sitting on top. That is not the strangeness. What is the strangeness? You know what is the strangeness? What does Dakshinamurti do? No words are spoken. That is the strangeness of the scene. What is that Gurustam? What does it do? He simply teaches you in Mauna Upakhyanam. Teaches you in silence. What is the Guru doing? Teaching in Maunam Upakhyanam. He is teaching you in silence. And what is happening to Shishyas? Shishyastam Chinna Samshayaha. All their doubts are getting destroyed, cleared. How? In Maunam Upakhyanam, their doubts are getting cleared. So Vruddha Shishya means what? Not physically Vruddha Shishya. Spiritually Vruddha. They've evolved. Therefore they understand this silence. Therefore they understand this silence. It's not just about physical oldness and physical youngness of the bodies of the Guru and Shishya. No. It is the spiritual oldness of the Shishyas. Vruddha Shishyas, because they are spiritually old, spiritually evolved. That's what it means. Old means evolved. Their souls are very old. They have put this effort on this path for many, many lifetimes. So they came and settled down near the Vatavriksha. And this young Guru is sitting. Young because he bodily is young, not spiritually young. Bodily young. And what does he do? He doesn't do anything, just sits. Gurustam Maunam Upakhyanam. Just keep silent. Shishyastam Chinna Samshaya. All the doubts are getting dispelled. Just by sitting, those times are coming. Not very far in the future. Right here, very much. But what will you understand of the silence if you don't understand the words? That's what Swami would say. If you don't understand my words, what will you understand my silence? Therefore, so much of talking happening, so that these are the final, before exam, this is the preparatory coaching and the training, whatever. If you missed a few classes, bunked a few classes, didn't study, didn't do your homework, this is the time to finish it. Because after this, no more coaching, no more teaching. Self-effort. Self-effort is the only way to move forward from here. So you will see those changes. That is why Brahmavida you have to be. Or at least put the effort on that path. Because Swalpamapyasya dharmasya, even little you learn on this path, trayate mahato bhayat. Yama will say, Have you become Brahmavida? You say, not yet, but I tried my best. All right, you tried, therefore I will not trouble you. You didn't even try. What is that? What Brahma? What? Vida? At least you say, I know Brahmavida. I have studied and Swami was so working hard, was teaching and he was training us. I put some effort, but I couldn't put all my effort. I did something in front of, examiner, how we tell. Sir, I couldn't sleep properly, I was sick, I had a fever, that's why I couldn't study, but I know this much. So he will take pity on you and say, all right, since you put some effort, swalpam apyasya dharmasya, you have learned some bit of that dharma, trayate mahato bhayat, okay, I will not frighten you, I will not trouble you, I will let you go. What a relief it would be, just imagine. Because you have done something, some little good you have done, little dharma you have learned, let me relieve you. And you can escape. And then remember and run back and pray to God, please give me another opportunity. Mahapurusha Samshraya, please, please, please. So that this time whatever I have learned from the past takes me to the next birth, the next yoni, which is a blessed yoni, where I am born in the family of noble people who are Brahmavidas, or if at least people who are putting efforts on the Brahma path. At least that family you give me. Rich, poor, businessman, pauper, I don't care. Just give me the birth in a family who know Brahman. That's all I want. That's what you will beg when you go to the other side. And then you may or may not get as the yatha karma, yatha shrutam. Whatever happens, happens. So this is the opportunity. That is why present is omnipresent. If you do the present right, there is no worry about the future. So one fellow was there. He went to Ramana Maharshi and said, Swamiji, what will happen to my future? What will happen to my future? He said, you worry about what will happen to your present. He thought, present I am quite fine, nothing to worry. What is this? Ramana Maharshi confused me. And then he didn't understand the word. What worry about your present, he said. So he thought maybe something is going wrong somewhere which I am not aware of. At my home, in my business. Then the disciples had to say, present you worry because if you worry about your present in the sense you will do the present right, future will be taken care of. That's what he means when he said you worry about the present, forget about the future. That's what I'm saying, worry about the present. That if I do the things right, I will attain a great future. So I hope half of you at least have in principle understood Vairagya, in principle understood the side effects of not being a Vairagi, the implications, the consequences of it. But true Vairagya will come with Jnana. With Jnana will come with Vairagya. So which comes first, which comes second? You figure it out as you keep growing. Each helps the other. Each helps the other. Ladder is there. Two sticks of the ladder are there. Without 2 sticks, can there be a ladder? There will be a rope. Can you glue rope stunts? Very difficult. But if there is a steady ladder, rung by rung, you can climb. Like this, Jnana, Vairagya are 2 rungs. And both are joined by Bhakti. The two long bamboo sticks are Jnana, Vairagya. The rungs which connect both is Bhakti. So using Bhakti and Jnana, Vairagya as your support, you can climb up. So you will get to know. See, how I don't understand this, you will not understand it because it cannot be understood, it has to be experienced. So keep trying, it will reveal itself to you someday. It will reveal. Suddenly it will come. Like many times I say, many experiments, scientists, they experiment, no results come. One fine day, on its own result comes without their knowledge. Music people are there. Keep practicing, that somehow they are missing that Shruti. One fine day, Shruti, they catch it on its own, effortlessly. Such a day should come. You struggle now with your thoughts, with your desires, with your vasanas, struggle. It's all right. Keep struggling. Till when? Till you have overcome all of them. And when? How? Kalena Atmani. With time you will overcome. But don't give up. If you give up in between, then there is no hope. Prapya varan nibodhata. Don't give up till you have achieved it. It is what Shankaracharya, of course, Vivekananda, and it is also part of Kathopanishad. Don't give up. Keep trying. I know it's miserable. Sometimes it's difficult. But everything was difficult. When you started walking, you fell. You hurt yourself in so many places. It was difficult. When you started riding bicycle, couldn't balance. Fell a couple of times. It was difficult. Everything was difficult. When you started eating, you were dropping it everywhere. It was difficult. You didn't know anything. You came agyani in this world. You have attained jnana with effort. When you are putting so much effort to learn science, maths, biology, all kinds of things, which is necessary, I am not saying, go back and say to parents, I don't want to study all this, now I want to study Brahma Jnana only. No, you have to study because you need to be functional in the world too. You have to do your duties. How? Selflessly, for the welfare of all. So somebody has put a question to me, should we not even see the movies that they show in the hostel on Saturdays or Sundays or some entertainment? What did I say? You enjoy the world should not enjoy you. That's all you ensure. If you think that entertainment is necessary after a week long of whatever, and still you don't get your real entertainment from your own sadhana, and there is some small cravings of the mind here and there, and you don't want to trouble yourself too much by trying to control and suppress when everybody is watching, you cannot say. If your what chitta vrittis are there, what can you do? At least, okay, go see. But don't let the movie get inside you. You watch it as a movie. Are you having that kind of oil on you, applied and gone? If you have gone, then it's fine. If you don't have that sadhana or whatever, the vairagya oil, don't watch. My personal suggestion, personal advice, stay away. You think you are smarter than them? No, they are always, these Vishayas are much smarter than us. We will be watching a nice movie. So, we'll be watching, that is some God's movie. In that God's movie, everything will be going on fine so far. Suddenly one Apsara will appear from somewhere. So you go to watch a movie and you forget the whole story and catch hold of what? Mouse under the chair. Forget the queen. That's what will happen. That is why best is to keep cut off from as much as possible and develop a different taste in life. Not a different taste. Sattvic tastes you develop. Initially it will be difficult, but as like mother persists and feeds rice to the milk feeding child, and child develops a taste for the rice now. Likewise, you keep feeding the mind with the sattvic till its very pravrutti changes into nivrutti. Its nature itself gets modified. So, if you cannot control so much, everybody is watching, I am suffering, then go watch. But I can only guarantee you will suffer more after that. We will come back with some thought which is unnecessary from there. How much ever editing and pruning they do here, something will be there. And you will come back exactly with that, because that is what your mind was looking for. Done. Similarly, food. Similarly, in sports. Similarly, in any activity. Curb. Unwanted things curb. Play well, no problem. But don't, as I said, don't get so involved that today losing a game should make you lose your sleep and develop hatred and enmity and envy for everybody who is won against you. That cannot be the way to play game. If that is what you are getting, stop playing games, I would say. Till you have developed that balance of mind. Don't go. Now, how can an unprepared soldier get into a battlefield, you tell me? Is it not foolishness? Is it not in a way, it's not a foolishness of Abhimanyu to get into the Chakravyuha without knowing how to get out of it? That's what will happen to you. You're not ready, you get into things, then you get stuck and suffer. And then you suffer the consequences also after that. So best is to avoid. That's why A, B, C, always say, avoid bad company. See, this is Vedanta. But if I tell A, B, C, people will think, this man knows nothing. What is this A, B, C he is teaching? I take Kathopanishad and quote shlokas after shlokas after shlokas from all cross references, from Prashnopanishad, Kenopanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Mundaka, Mandukya, Chandogya. He knows. I always knew. But I learnt with passage of time that they don't pay attention to my words because they're too simple. And I complicate it, put a lot of Sanskrit in it, and refer to this, that, and everything else. Create a whole web of things. Oh, everybody is startled. Why? Because they think now he knows. Because he's telling us from here, there, everybody's a Shastra Pramana is there. See, that's the mind. If heart was open, it will just know in one sentence he knows. Why? Because what he said is perfect. Now rest is that we have to do mananam and find out for ourselves. I'm reading something about Ramana Maharshi. A man comes, says, I have a Bhakti Marga, Jnana Marga confusion like many of us are having right now. There is no confusion actually. Bhakti Marga, Jnana Marga, which way to go, this way to go or that way to go? Kept on pestering. The Ramana Maharshi's answer is, go the way you came. He's saying, no, I'm not asking about how to go back to my town. I'm asking you, which way? Go the way you came. Does Ramana Maharshi know or not know? He knows. But this man didn't understand anything out of it. So he started asking, what is this? This answer is not helpful to me. So his answer is most helpful. Just think for a while. Where did you come? How did you come? How did you arrive in this world? Same way you have to go back also. Then you sit and think about it. So when Swami earlier said, silence is silence. Nothing got in. It got printed in nice posters and circulated on WhatsApps. That's all happened. Beyond that, who put effort to become silent? Tell me for yourself. Nobody put any effort. Oh, Sai Baba's quotations are very nice. Be good, do good, this is the way to God. Oh, how nice the quotation. But what to do about it? Nothing. What to do? Print it, circulate it. Be divine. You are divine. Yes, I am divine, thank you. But what do we do about it to realize it? Nothing. Nothing. Now I come and tell, Mahavakyas are there. They are from this Upanishad, from that Veda, from this, who said to whom? Oh, he knows what he knows. He knows something. That's all is the problem. Nobody took words seriously. You tell Swami was an Advaitin from the day one. You go and read he might have spoken about many topics under the sun, according to the need of the hour, situation, the devotees, things like that. Always an Advaita. He always stood for Advaita Vedanta only, from the very, very, very beginning. But he didn't have the right students who were interested in that Advaita Vedanta. They were interested in knowing stories from here and there, jokes and parables. Accordingly, it was done. And they were all entertained because he thought, at least, as I said, a sleeping should sit, a sitting should stand, a standing should walk, walking should reach, reaching should merge. Some progress they will show. For that sake, entertainment. Now it's all about enlightenment. There's no entertainment. And this whatever little entertainment you think it is also is going to end very soon. Maunam upakhyanam. Sit and understand from the silence and nothing will be spoken. And all these little things that we keep asking, you do this for me, then I will do this. No doing for nothing. Some people have written, I have a property, I don't know what to do, I want to sell. See, if the property is coming in your way of spiritual progress and occupying so much of your mind, just dump it. If not that price, half the price you dump it. Is this money or wealth? Peace of mind is the true wealth, I always say. If that helps you progress spiritually, dump it. Proper ties, not properties. No, I worked all my life and I built the property and I have struggled so much, and then you struggle again. It's like the monkey, carrying the dead baby everywhere, unable to throw it. Then you carry. I gave birth, I kept that monkey in my womb for so many days, it died now. Oh, carry it everywhere now, go. If you have real detachment, that is what is said, that jnana khangena, or as it said, asanga shastra. If you have the detachment, how does it matter? 10 lakh rupees less? Let it go. It is giving me peace of mind. It's giving me a time to progress spiritually. Is that which is more important to me? No, then there are excuses. We want to offer this to Swami. So the maximizing its value and we'll offer. Swami, are you progressing spiritually? I'm asking you 100 times a day. For that you have no answer. For everything else, we will maximize that, we will do this and we will add this to Swami's mission and we will take the mission to moon. I'm not interested in all of you. I can run the mission all by myself, that much capacity. If I didn't have the capacity, if I didn't know how to lift the Govardhan, you think I should put my finger under it? Just because you came with the sticks, don't assume that you are running the mission. So don't take unnecessary, undue, don't give over-importance to anything or yourself first. So if you are detached, it's detached. A baby is dead. Whether you bury the baby today or after 3 days, how does it matter? Does it matter? The earlier you bury, the better it is. Unnecessarily you are carrying a burden which is of no use to you. Bury it, finish, done, peaceful. That is what happens when a kite gets a piece of flesh, crows chase all the way. Wherever the kite goes, these crows go. It cannot find peace. When it finds peace, when does it find peace? It drops the flesh. And it says, done with this. The more I run behind it, the more crows are troubling me. More thoughts, more ideas. more mine is troubling me, let it go. I say, okay, a day I'll be hungry, but I'll be peaceful. Let those crows fight and eat. Let it go. That is Vairagya. That attitude is Vairagya. And who is the beneficiary of the Vairagya? You are, when you give up something, you think the other fellow is getting it, I am losing it. But truth is what you have passed on your tension, worries and all the things to that other fellow and you have become free. That is what has happened. Because you got rid of the attachment. That is the story. That is the idea of my Vairagya. I'll close one small story of Mohajit, one name was there. We all put our names, no? All kinds of names we put. But by putting names, do we become that is the question. By naming ourselves Krishna, Madhava, Govinda, or Brahman also you name yourself, will you become that is the question. There was this prince called Mohajit. And this Mohajit went to he was very sincere and spiritual, so he came to know that a Guruji has come to the forest, let me go and learn some jnana. So he went to learn some jnana. And this Guruji told, you put your name Mohajit, but are you really Mohajit? Have you gotten rid of all your moha? He said, yes, of course. He said, all right, let me check. He said, not only me, all my family, my whole kingdom is free from moha. Everybody is a person steeped deep in Vairagya. They don't care about anything. They only care about Brahman and self-realization. This Guru couldn't believe his ears. Because he might have gone to the previous kingdom where everybody declared to be Brahma Gyani, you see, a while ago. So again he met somebody and said, no, this can't be true. Let me go and check. So this time for a change he went with the blood-stained, soaked clothes of this prince. Just to fool. And went to the palace and running, oh ha. What happened? One mate who was working there, she said, what happened? He said, a prince has been killed by some ruffians, they attacked in the forest and this fellow is dead. Oh, is it so? Anyway, everybody who is born has to be dying, isn't it? And she continued to sweep the floor. He said, your prince has been killed. I understand. I have a routine, I have a duty to finish, I will finish it. No, I want to inform the king and the queen. Oh, that is the reason? Okay, I will tell you. So she finished her sweeping broom, whatever, and took this Guruji to the queen. And queen said, what? She said, what happened? He said, your son has been killed. Oh, the bird came, sat on the branch for some time and flew away. That's fine, she said. He was stunned. He said, this can't be. So he went to the king. King, your heir to the kingdom, your inheritor of this whole thing is gone. This is just, what am I? Who am I or what is he? This is like a night shelter by the wayside. People come rest for the night and morning they leave. Beyond that, what is this world? He was absolutely stunned. He said, this cannot be. He went to his wife, prince's wife. Oh, wife of the prince, your husband is gone. This is what happened. She said, oh, what is husband and wife but two logs of wood drifting away in the currents of the river. When the currents bring them together, currents separate them. Anyway, each has to reach the ocean separately. This is the answer she gave. He was completely convinced that these people have complete Vairagya. And then he went back to the forest where this prince was waiting for him. And he told the prince, an enemy has attacked and killed your wife, father, mother and everybody. He said, all life is a bubble. It has burst. Okay, let's not waste time. You tell me about Brahma Gyana. That is what I want to know from you. See, that is Vairagya. When you sing Nirvana Shatakam, this should be the clarity. Simply chanting like a parrot won't help. Name mrityu shanka, name ma jati bheda, pita naiva me naiva, mata na janma, na bandhur, na mitram, guru naiva shishya. Simply chanting like this is not going to help. I always say, if a tape recorder plays this Nirvana Shatakam, that is not going to get Nirvana. Likewise, if you want to attain it, you have to firmly believe in it. It means what? Will you develop hatred towards your parents and friends? No, in fact, when you understand this, you will have great love for everyone because Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. He is the Antaratma of everybody. So whatever you do, Kurvan Napina Lipyate, it will not touch you. Even as the son you go and serve, you'll see a mother as mother goddess, father as divine, your brother, sister as divine, your wife and children as divine. So you will be able to do it much better because when you do something for divine, you do it much better, isn't it? For the parents, if Amma is cooking, somebody is cooking food, if some chapati or something gets burnt also, she'll feed the husband. But if the same chapati is coming to Swami's mandir, She'll take extra precaution that it's cooked well, nothing is burnt, it's cooked correctly, equally, consistently. If something is not cooked, she will refuse the chapati, make another one and send. Why? God, I'm doing for Swami, I'm doing for God. Same thing you apply principle in your life. Do little but do it well. Thinking that Swami is in all. This is Brahma Jnana. This is what takes you on this path. So why should you not do this? So you will become better husband, better wife, better son, better child, better teacher, better student, better devotee, because you have thought of it like this. But if we can't get rid of these physical bodies and then all these, rupa, pratirupa, then you are fooling yourself. That's all I can say. So please pay attention to these words, and just paying attention is not enough. Shravanam is not enough. Lot of mananam, and after mananam, lot of nididhyastam. Try to practice from today. Let me think, yes, truly God resides in all. I know mind is the one which creates these apparitions, these distractions from the original. But let me look at through all these layers of mind into the soul that resides within all. Let me see that, and let me conduct myself. Let me model my behavior, my life according to that principle, that there is divine in that person. That's it. And if there is something wrong, something right, as a husband, wife, you always have a choice to suggest and correct each other. Because we are pilgrims on the path to God. So with that attitude, I am your husband, you better listen what I am saying. Then it's wrong. I am your wife, no. No, we are co-pilgrims on this path. See, somewhere your anger is becoming too much nowadays. Is there an issue? Is there something that is troubling you nowadays? Do you want to sit down and discuss with it? Am I the reason for your anger? Is there anything in me that is not right which makes you angry? See, that will help each other. Then turning this way, turning that way, not talking for 3 days, and coming after satsang promptly next day to listen to Brahma Vidya. How that is going to help? Fought with your colleagues in the office, you don't talk to each other. Next day you are promptly there for Brahma Vidya. How will you attain Brahma Vidya? Not possible. So please change from there. Now that you have developed some vairagya, hopefully, I am hopeful about it. Now you start practicing. Next week is about continuously practicing this vairagya. Means cutting off all associations which are unnecessary, speaking less. So next 1 week is starting today, or starting now, I would say, not even today. Starting now is Maunam. Maunam is your way. Silence. Now don't irritate people with your silence. No. Silence means when it's necessary to speak, open your mouth. If it's not necessary to speak, just, as they say, shut up. Just shut up. Don't speak a word. If it's not necessary, just don't open your mouth. Continuously meditate in thought that I am Brahman, I am divine, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman, everything also, everybody is also divine. So I am not giving you one thought to think. I am giving you right now 2 thoughts to think. What is the 2 thoughts? Aham Brahmasmi, I am God, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman. Everything also is God. Because otherwise what will happen? By the end of 1 week, you will become an arrogant Brahmagyani. I am Brahman, everybody else is not Brahman. That is a dangerous thing. So what you will chant in your mind? Aham Brahmasmi, I am divine, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Or Brahman. Don't call Brahma, because then you will get confused between Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman. I am divine, and everything else is also divine. Let these 2 thoughts occupy all your thoughts. Forget how many thoughts you have thrown out of your body and mind, how many will come back, how many vasanas will raise their hood again and resurface. Don't pay attention to them. Don't pay attention to them. Just think these 2. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. Just these 2 practice and keep Maunam. Maunam means only speaking sparingly. And so keep some target. Not more than 50 sentences a day. Otherwise you have no way to measure what is more, what is less. So worst case scenario, 50 sentences a day. Which can be even good morning, sir. That could be 1 sentence. That's it, done. 1 is over. Start first day 50 sentences, next day 40 sentences, third day 30 sentences, fourth day 20 sentences, fifth day 10 sentences, sixth day 5 sentences, seventh day complete Maunam from today. Okay? So all your speaking you have to do, just finish it off with the moment you go back. Make all your phone calls, this includes texting and messaging also. Speaking does not mean I am not using my tongue. All this includes texting, messaging, emailing, WhatsApping, and whatever other. I only know these many because this is what comes to me in so various sources. All others also should be cut down. And don't worry, nobody is going to die anywhere because you didn't reply to their message. So whatever duty-bound messages, reply. Unnecessary hi, how are you? Are you good? Are you bad? Did you learn anything about Brahman? Did you realize Brahman? No discussions whatsoever. Just keep to yourself. So these 6 days, what you will do? Keep cutting down your talking. Tomorrow, 50 sentences, whole of the day. Means once you open the eyes and after you close, before you close the eyes, this is all 50 sentences is allowed. Next day, only 40 sentences are allowed. Third day, 30 only are allowed. Fourth day, 30, 20, 10, 5. Last day, 7th day, 0. Just observe silence on that day. Even if it's a necessary, compulsory, if it's very, very necessary, I'm not saying that, some patient is dying of stomach pain and doctor says, today is 7th day, I shall not break the protocol. He says, what about me? He says, die, I don't care. No. Duty bound, I have said. Unnecessary once you cut. If it's very duty bound thing, he's asking you how to obviously tell something to that patient. Poor fellow is suffering. So say that. Then don't open your mouth and say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya and all that. That your stomach pain is mithya, your suffering is illusion, everything is illusion. Don't say that. According to your duty, you answer, okay, you need to take this medicine, take care of these things. But whole ashram should observe this. There are some people here and many are not here. But whole ashram should. Only duty-bound work should be there. That also if you can reduce, it is good. If it's not necessary, just avoid answering things for next 1 week. And not much is being done. And if something is being done, that is only being done in a very limited way. All other things you cut down. I am the only exception. Otherwise, I'll also go into Maunam Vakyanam. So I am only talking because you should be able to understand this now. Next stage, I will also stop. Last week, 4th week, nobody is talking. Neither you are talking, nor I am talking. We are all silent. We are just trying to do mananam, nididhyasanam of what we have already understood. So practice that. Unless I call and say something and then you should reply. See, that kind of. But try to keep your engagement of mind and your senses to the limited. So can you practice this for this week? Okay, let us see how you are doing in this week and then we'll come back next week. Silencing mouth, silencing fingers, silencing mind. Any thoughts come? Discard. This also will become a part of my 50 sentences, then I am done. So I don't want any thoughts at my thought level, I don't speak. Mouth level, I don't speak. And texting and finger writing, emailing, typing, I don't do. I cut down everything. And what do I do for the rest of the time? Aham Brahmasmi, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman. If you are getting bored, go read a book, read and listen to a nice music and just enjoy nice music which will calm you down, not enrage you. Just do that. Of course, mothers are there, children are there, exceptions are always there. They have no choice but to deal because children will ask you 1,000 questions on the same day when you decide to take Maunam. So they have no choice, but they can also calm them down, keep them busy with something to play so that you have some time to yourself. That much you do. Please practice. You will see the benefit. Have you not seen the benefit of these 2 weeks or whatever you have done? Haven't you become a little, at least some calmer than what you were? At least you have become aware, conscious of what you think, what you say, how you do things, where you are going right, where you go. Have you not? You have. Your already habits are changing. Food habits will change, meeting habits will change, sleeping, all these talking, all these habits will change. So that is how 1 more week of this little sadhana will even make you better. You see, 30 days challenge I told. At the end of 30 days, you will be a different person, a new you.